Welcome to this edition of On Point with Karthikeya Sharma. And today I'm being joined by Manindra Agrawal, uh, who is Professor of Computer Science, IIT Kanpur. And in his mathematical model on Omicron, he has claimed that very soon, by middle of this month, which is January, the pandemic, the third wave, is going to hit the peak soon. So starting straight away with the first and the most obvious question, how did you arrive at this conclusion, sir?
The third wave will hit the peak in metro cities like Delhi, Mumbai, and Kolkata by middle of this month. For India overall, it is towards the end of this month. Mm-hmm. Now, coming to how did I arrive at this? Well, we have a model called Sutra. This is a mathematical model based on some differential equations which track the trajectory of this pandemic, and we have been using it for past year or so to understand how the pandemic is moving in India, in its states and districts. And what this model does is it has the trajectory, it governed by certain parameters in the model. So it uses the daily new cases data to learn the current value of these parameters. And once it is able to correctly learn, estimate them close enough, then its prediction for future becomes reasonably accurate.
How do we come to conclusion like this when data is a issue in country like ours?
Well, here I would like to point out that the data that we are getting from India right from the beginning of this pandemic has been of very good quality. What I mean by this is, I don't mean that all the infected cases are getting reported. No, in fact, that is not happening anywhere in the world. A large number of cases are being missed simply for the reason that large number of asymptomatic cases exist, so nobody knows that they are infected. So it's not that all cases are being detected. It is that there is almost a very consistent and uniform policy or methodology that is being followed to report the cases. And it can be seen very clearly if you go to any of these sites like Worldometer, which is showing the trajectory of the pandemic in different countries. Look at the India curve, especially the 7-day average of cases curve, and compare it with 7-day average cases curve of, let's say, US or UK, France, Brazil. You find that Indian curve is very smooth. On the other hand, the curves of many other countries has a very jagged nature, which is really pointing to a reporting issue than the real issue. So, therefore, I believe that Indian data, as far as new cases is concerned, has been of good quality. And learning the parameter values from it, therefore, has not been a big issue. There are 3 key parameter values that the model has.
How are the 3 different?
The 3 waves, you mean?
The data which you have got from the mathematical model, how are they different?
During the first wave, the reach was quite small. It was less than 40% when it increased, of course, but if you look at by the end of the first wave, it was less than 40% or 0.4. Beta was, of course, very small. It was 0.16. It's very slow spread. Epsilon, as I said, has been more or less the constant. When you come to the second wave, beta jumped very significantly. It actually was close to 0.4. So about 2.5 times increase. Reach also went up to around 90% actually. So that's also a very significant increase. And currently, for the third wave, the parameter values are not yet fully stable. So we are still waiting for more data to come in because Pan-India, the wave has begun just about a week ago. And so we just have to wait for data for a few more days to estimate what is the parameter values.
Why is the peak and the drop in Omicron so sharp?
It is because, just think back about the first wave, and suppose there was no lockdown. What would have happened in that situation was, and we have done a simulation and we see that that's what happens, because everybody is available to infect. So, and people are moving around freely. So the infection would have spread very fast and the number of cases would have seen a very sharp rise, going to a high peak. The reason it did not happen was because of a very strict lockdown, which restricted the movement of people very sharply. In the third wave that we are seeing today, we are approximately in a similar situation because Omicron is able to bypass the immunity given by either vaccine or previous infections and is able to infect a large number of people, a large percentage of population, I should say. And movement is not restricted. People are still moving about freely. There are small restrictions like night curfew and so on, but daytime things are just happening as they were. So free movement, large number of population available to infect, this is what happens.
So are you saying that lockdown can be an answer to?
No, I'm not saying that. In fact, I do not think the lockdown is the answer, because what a lockdown does is it reduces the spread rate, which means that the wave, the peak comes down, but the duration of the wave stretches. Just go again, think back to the first wave. It started in May and went on and stopped only, I suppose, by December. So a very long period. Today, what we are seeing is that nearly everybody infected with Omicron has very mild disease. So on the whole, I think it's a better strategy not to impose lockdown. Let it come, and hospitals are certainly not getting overwhelmed. You see, Delhi, Mumbai, hospital beds are available, hardly any need for oxygen or ventilator. So health infra is not getting overstretched, and in that case, we don't need a lockdown.
Can we say that Omicron will function differently from a country to country to country?
Yes, it has been. Its a characteristic has been somewhat different. When one looks at South Africa, the way it has spread in South Africa has been different from the way it is spreading in India. For different countries, it is taking a different trajectory.
What is the difference, if you without getting into the detail?
Yeah, so it appears, again, based on the data that I have seen so far, South Africa, of course, their wave is nearly over, so we know pretty much everything about that. The loss of immunity in South Africa has not been very high. Whereas in India, the way it is going so far, it appears that the loss of immunity here is higher.
You're saying the loss of immunity is higher?
Here is higher, yes.
Compared
to South Africa.
Any reason for that?
That's I do not
that's a very very important observation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, earlier I had assumed that when we did not have any data for India in last month, I assumed that look, something similar with what happened in South Africa, something similar will happen in India, because we are, if you look at our age demographics, is similar. The percentage of natural people who have natural immunity, that is immunity via past infection, that's also similar. And if anything, we have higher vaccine immunity than South Africa. So, and then based on those assumptions, I had estimated that the trajectory would peak in India at less than 2 lakh cases, and its rise will not be that sharp. But the way we are seeing today, I mean, within within 10 days, we have hit almost 2 lakhs. That number shows clearly that it's spreading a lot faster than it did in South Africa, which is only the only reason that appears to be the case, which is causing this, is that a lot more people are available to infect. South Africa also did not impose any lockdown, so it was allowed to spread there. So I don't understand why. But having said that, it's also important to point out that the loss of immunity doesn't mean a complete loss. The loss of immunity I refer to by saying that those who can get infected. Our previous immunity is certainly still good enough to stop serious infection.
So what does it mean in terms of the peak which India is going to witness? Where do you expect the Indian average to be in next 10 days?
So right now things are in the real flux. As I said, firstly, we don't have enough data. So we can make a approximate prediction that by end of this month, the peak will come. And between 4 to 8 lakhs, a wide range, I understand. They're not very informative, but this is what best we can do at the moment. However, with this change strategy of not testing asymptomatic cases, what this is going to do is going to reduce the reported cases substantially, which means that the reported peak is now likely to be significantly smaller than what it would have been had we been following the earlier testing strategy. So because of this additional factor, it's right now hard for me to predict through the model what would be the peak value. I just have to wait for a week or 10 days for the enough data to collect, and then the model can predict.
So, but can you give us an sort of a basic, where do you expect the peak to go?
So as I said, with same testing strategy, I was expecting somewhere between 4 to 8 lakh cases per day at the peak. You can easily reduce it by a factor of 2 now. So 2 to 4 lakh, somewhere between 2 to 4 lakh cases a day.
And the closing question is that since you are saying that in India it has followed a different pattern, it shows that there is an issue of immunity. Do we require a different approach to tackle Omicron? When I spoke to Dr. Angelica Coetzee in South Africa, she said boosters don't work. Masks need to be made mandatory. Your point?
I could agree with the similar strategy for India. I don't think just the fact that there are more people getting infected only means that the number of cases will be higher here. However, just like South Africa, the illness it is causing is almost uniformly mild. So when there is a mild illness only, firstly, the strategy doesn't require any lockdown or strong actions which cause problems in other factors, loss of livelihood and such stuff. It's best to wear mask. When you are in a crowded place, wear mask. It just protects you, protects others. And vaccination, see, if vaccine is already providing enough immunity to ensure that the illness will not be severe. Now, going through the whole rigmarole of a booster dose, and after that, after a few months, another booster dose, which is what many countries are doing. But it seems a little pointless, frankly, to me. For those who are really have a immunocompromised situation, for them, yes, but otherwise, no.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on this edition of On Point.